got the spoiler warning at the beginning. It always blows my mind that like I'll have this up and people will be
Uh-huh.
like, "I can't believe you had spoilers." I'm like, bro, did you see the first 5 seconds? Anyways,
How
what's
dare
going
you?
on? What's going on, YouTube? I, goodness. So Annihilation. I've seen the film about 4 times now in theaters, and I'm about to go ahead and dissect this bad boy. But I'm actually not alone for this review. I'm actually joined by no other fellow YouTuber, Faye Whale. What's going on, man?
What it do, ski people? Glad to be here with the homie Jor-El, talking about Annihilation. We've been trying to get this going for a little while now.
Mm-hmm.
Not even just like the Annihilation talk, but just like a joint movie review together. So I'm
Yeah,
glad we're both gonna talk about this movie. It's gonna be good.
yeah. So, oh my God, where to even begin? I think maybe we should just approach this movie kind of in a linear fashion. Maybe just
Hmm.
starting with the characters might be a good
Totally.
point, and just see where we end up.
Let's see
So,
where it takes us.
I guess what's our short thoughts of the film? Because Annihilation, I right off the bat, I don't understand the comparison between this and Arrival. I just feel like people think of Arrival and they go, "Oh, she had a ponytail. Oh, she was female. Oh, there's aliens. Oh, is another Arrival?" I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys?"
There's a woman, aliens, arrival.
Yeah, to me, Annihilation is actually more like the remake of Tarkovsky's Solaris with George Clooney by Steven
Hmm.
Soderbergh. I think it's more so like that, or like Upstream Color with Shane Carruth. Um, I think the film has a lot of similarities to The Master with Paul Thomas Anderson, Phil Seymour Hoffman, Joaquin Phoenix, or maybe even like the remake with Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise and Penelope Cruz. I think Annihilation is more so like that. And I guess my short thoughts of the film is that I love Annihilation. Seen it 4 times in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely obsessed with this movie. It's very lyrical for me. It's like an album, that I just throw on
Yeah, that Annihilation has some mean bars.
and like I have a different interpretation every time I see it or hear it
Yeah.
personally. Um, and I gave it a 10 out of 10 myself. I don't ordinarily start off with ratings, but I feel like we should because this is probably going to be a long conversation. So I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Definitely.
I think it's probably going to be deeply misunderstood for quite a bit of time, and I think the viewpoint's just gonna change in the future. People are just gonna be like, "Oh, what? Oh," and just like it'll be like something equivalent to like a cult classic or something higher, hopefully. But what are your short thoughts of it before we, I guess, get
Before we
into it?
dissect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Annihilation. It was. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, and coming out of it, I really did enjoy it. My final score for the film, I still try to learn more about it and go deeper into some of this stuff. But having done that a little bit, I finished it off with like about a 7.8, seven
Okay.
point nine, floating around there.
Okay.
Really loved a lot of the concepts and what they were going for, but there's like one or two minor things. That I couldn't get higher in my score, but I really did enjoy the film. So we can just jump right into it.
Okay. I guess let's just talk about the characters first.
Sure.
I thought that the cast was very solid from pretty much everyone. Um, and I think that the standouts would be Natalie Portman as the biologist and Oscar Isaac as I guess her
The
husband or
Marine or
boyfriend.
whatever, the
Yeah,
soldier. Yeah.
I think those were the big standouts. If I had to give, because I mean the whole cast is fine, but outside of that, I will say that I thought that Gina Rodriguez, I don't know what her character name is, but and goddamn, she is fine. Jesus Christ, but I thought she really. So I'm not very familiar with her as an actress,
Hmm.
um, but her performance really stood out to me. Um, I thought she was very good, but I thought everyone was well cast. I don't know if you feel
Yeah.
differently or um
No, so one of my I actually loved how it was. I love the way that they were cast. I think they all served their purpose pretty well.
mhm.
Um, like you said, Natalie Portman, I thought she did a good job. Oscar Isaac, I thought he did a good job as well. And the supporting cast, um, they all did their roles fine, acting wise. I think some of the gripes I had was maybe character, with actual characters themselves, how they weren't
Hmm.
too there wasn't too much to them, for me at least.
I don't know. I feel like they're. I
But
feel. I feel
sorry.
like we got a lot of details about the characters actually, but I feel like see the thing is that this movie is designed for like multiple um, viewings. I think
100%, yeah.
I don't think it's meant for like I've seen it once. Yep, got everything that I needed, understood everything. Everything was coherent. Woo! Like this is not that movie whatsoever. Like Natalie Portman's character, like she and Oscar Isaac, like the relationship kind of just went left. You know, just went wrong as time progressed, and she kind of
Very very left.
yes, and she's like slept with that one.
Interstellar man.
Yeah, the Interstellar man. I'm gonna go big screen for a second, because I don't want to just say the black man, even though I think he's the only black man in the film. But this guy right here, my boy David, right here. She started sleeping with him. I could be totally wrong, but it felt like they the affair happened while she was with Oscar Isaac. I could be wrong.
Yeah, so like I heard people next to me, like as we were watching the movie, they're like, wait, what is he doing? Like, what's happening with them? I think
Yeah,
some people got kind of confused with their relationship. So I
yeah,
believe that they did have an affair
yeah. Oh
while he was
yeah,
overseas or whatever
oh
working.
yeah. Because there was a scene where she's telling uh him that like, oh, my husband knows about us, so like, can you please leave? So yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
because I'm excited to dive into like the concepts, like you were saying, how there's like this needs repeated viewings. Because one thing that I
Yes.
really liked about this movie, definitely because we're talking spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Was the concept. This was a very, what's the saying? It's like uh high concept, low budget or whatever it was. What's the saying for that?
I'm not sure. It's definitely very high concept though, for sure.
Oh, definitely. And that's why I think Paramount chose to kind of go with like a Netflix release, because I think
Hmm.
they knew that box office wise they might not be able to get the most money, and it might be like a kind of divisive film. Although I think the response is pretty much in line with that, I'd say. What do you think?
Yeah, I think critically, it's been very well received. I think
Yeah.
critically, I think the critics get it for sure. I feel I feel like everyone else is just like, what? I don't understand. But another problem with the film is that it's. I was saying this off camera, but the movie represents what is not in mainstream media
Oh,
conceptually.
100%. And like
Like
I think from the very jump, I was watching a bunch of interviews with the director, Alex. What's his last name again? So
Alex Garland, which for the record,
Alex Garland.
I'm a big fan. But anyway,
Yeah, he from the jump, like from the interviews, from what I've seen, it's just like he was going for that 100%. Like he had a vision, he had his idea after he read the book,
hmm
and he's like, I'm gonna do this, and you can tell. Like when I watched the film, you can tell that the director was being very specific what he was doing,
sure.
from the directing, to the way that the narrative progressed and stuff, to the ending. Oh my god. Um,
I have so much to say about that, and like
yeah.
this review is probably about to go off the rails because the movie, it's such a hard movie to look at in like a linear structure. You know, the movie is given to you, and it's such a hypnotic, dreamlike, sci-fi horror film
Yeah.
with some thriller aspects in there as well. Um, it doesn't very neatly fit into one genre, in my personal opinion. I think that's another thing that's throwing people off, you know. And like even with the characters, the way that they're executed, like it seems sparse at first, the details, until like because like with Natalie Portman, you know, she had the affair while still being with Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac was so disturbed by this that this motherfucker was just like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go into the shimmer. Why not?"
He's just
Um,
like, you've hurt me more than enough. I'm out.
right? And I'm gonna go big screen again because I'm gonna mess up character
Do it
names and
up.
shit. But you know, like Tessa Thompson's character, she's someone who cuts herself. And then there's the woman who plays Shepherd, who like I think she lost her daughter
Yeah,
because of leukemia or something
because
like that.
leukemia. Yeah, she had cancer, I believe, and then she's
Yeah,
basically alluded that she lost herself when she her daughter was gone.
yeah. And Jennifer Jason Leigh, I believe she actually had cancer.
Oh, actually,
Um, I think so. I think her character had cancer. Um, Someone's gonna have to fact check me on that. But even
common
outside
section.
of that, like Jennifer Jason Leigh is like I'm just obsessed with just her character. She's such a question mark. Her performance is so understated. Um, it's very emotionless. She's very creepy to me. She's so
Yeah,
creepy
she
to me.
was
Like
yeah
she's so
very
like
sterile. She gave up. Like she looks like she was dead inside, dude. She
yes.
was.
She looks like someone who, because they were saying like she has no friends, she has no spouse. It just seems like she's just been straight up staring at the shimmer for so long. She was just like, "Fuck it."
Yeah, because then that connects to one of the big like I guess messages of the film, which was self destruction, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're
All of them, as I kind of mentioned, were like damaged goods, right?
yeah.
And that's what they all were. They all went there to die, and then that kind of connects to the whole idea. The connecting to another point. What was the first interpretation you got when you watched the movie? Like, what did you think after watching it? The whole movie was about, or the message, one of the messages they were trying to get across.
First off, I think the film definitely speaks to depression, um, being suicidal,
Hmm.
um, relationships that are rocky or that have gone wrong, and being self-destructive. I guess just in general, I think the film really speaks to those concepts. To me, the film is like a perfect nightmare. It's very much so like The Master,
I like that.
where because The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson is very very similar in which you feel like you're watching like a fever dream. You know, like when you get
Hmm.
really really sick, and you have those like really bizarre, incoherent, vivid dreams. You know, when you're really sick,
Yeah.
I'm talking like really bedridden. You're fucking pouring sweat. You know, the movie very much so reminds me of that. It's actually very hard for me to remember the film in a straightforward forward fashion because it's given to you in such an off kilter way. You know, anytime there's a sequence, I'm gonna go large screen here, but
From
anytime
the jump.
there's a sequence with like Benedict Wong, uh,
Yeah, he was awesome.
interrogating whatchamacallit, Natalie Portman in this room right here. God, the movie just feels so dreamlike. I'm just like, what in the world? In the
Like,
world?
the film's gonna get wonky when they start off with you, like with the main character getting
Yes.
interrogated, you know?
Yeah, that was my first interpretation of the film. That I think it's just a beautiful nightmare.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you first walked out?
So after because they definitely dropped a lot of hints in the filmmaking, like the cinematography, the directing, with like it like as I was like unfolding what was happening, I'm like, okay, it has to do with like evolution in the cell and whatnot, and whatnot. As they're kind of they kept emphasizing that,
Mm-hmm.
and by the end of the movie, after thinking about it, I thought it was about sort of like almost like a natural selection sort of story.
Mm-hmm.
It was this alien race that um invaded, and they chose only the strongest. I guess they chose to um, make it to their body, right?
Yeah.
Take over the body. So all the other people, after all those months, they couldn't make it to the lighthouse, right? Because they weren't strong enough because of their self-destructive habits.
Yeah.
That's what I took out of it. So we saw that in each of our supporting characters, right?
Yeah.
They all had those habits, and the only one who could make it far was her husband. He was the first person to, and the aliens preemptively knew that she would be able to get there as well, and then that's how they sort of took over, right?
Well, I mean, maybe the film's like a statement about human morality as well.
Definitely, like I feel like it was about you know evolution, all this stuff, and all of those elements, like those like depression stuff, all were also thrown into the mix as well.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite sequences, even though people are gonna be like, "Wait, what?" And I'm probably gonna have to go big screen for this one again. But
Big screen it up.
this moment right here, when I guess they're in the marshlands and they're about to enter the shimmer for the first time, is
First time,
one
yeah.
of my is one of my favorite sequences.
It's your
okay?
favorite shit.
It's one of my favorite scenes. Not my favorite, but like it's so good just because like the first off, shout out to the soundtrack. The score is immense. Easily my favorite score soundtrack of the year so far. Like
Okay.
the sound design and the score are so immersive. It's so like suffocatingly loud. It's so vivid and
Oh
distinctive.
yeah,
The
because
soundtrack,
they
you know what I
totally
mean?
had to, right? Because when you're making when they had to make the shimmer and stuff, all this stuff believable, they had to really immerse you because, like you said, it's dreamlike, right? So
Very much so. Yeah.
they had to replicate those sounds. And you can like that's what really stands out to me when this movie is the attention to detail
Yeah.
from the sound design to
Oh man.
the CG, which we can get about for in a little bit, um, to the actual designs of like what's it called, the lighthouse, the innards or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They put a lot of detail into getting that done, and it comes across really well.
Yeah. There's actually, I probably should have looked this up prior to the video, but anyway, hold on. Song. Oh wait, no. Tune. By the way, shout out to this motherfucking website. Have you guys used this website? It's hard as
Which one?
fuck. It's called Tune Find. It
Tune
finds like
Five. I haven't used that.
finds songs for films or TV episodes. Uh,
Word.
First off, we're gonna get into this later, but this is my favorite song from the film. Makes me
Watch
want
out
to
for those
just,
copyrights, bro.
I know. And then I think the song, I think it's Helplessly Hoping. This song right here. Jesus Christ. That song is so vivid. It's the song that's playing when Natalie Portman, she goes home to paint.
Mhm.
And coincidentally, Oscar Isaac comes home. Creepy as fuck. And it's like,
When he popped up, I
it's,
was like, "What are you doing here?" That's what I
yeah.
said. I was like, "What are you? You're not supposed to be here."
Yeah, that song is so seared onto my consciousness. It's used in such a bizarre way.
Yeah,
Because when Oscar Isaac comes home, it's like a doppelganger. It's not like the original Kane. It's like this weird Kane made by the Shimmer.
it's the refractured cane, or
Right, right.
actually no, that's no, that straight up is the alien.
Yeah, literally. And that scene where he comes home and she's like, "Oh my god." His performance scares the fuck out of me. Like you can just
It's so
tell.
lifeless. He's like confused, but then he's just empty.
Yeah, like you can tell like something is just super wrong with him. The way his hair is slicked back and skin's all pale.
And then the way
Um
his organs just start failing.
yeah. Yeah, we're about to go random because there's just so much to unpack. I want to
There
unpack
is a lot.
as much as
I
possible.
have some notes here, but like it's already going off the rails.
Like like okay, so I don't are we going big I'm going big screen again.
Yo,
God
big
damn.
screen it up, boy.
Big screen. Ah, so right here in this scene, when Benedict Wong, when he's interrogating her, you'll notice that there's a glass of water beside her, right? And when Kane comes home, finally, but it's just like alien Kane and Natalie Portman are having a conversation, you're gonna notice another very similar glass of water sitting between them, right?
Yeah.
And there's many moments where there's a lot of emphasis on seeing their fingers through the glass of water. Now, when I first saw the film, that really fucking threw me off. I was like, what the fuck is Alex Garland trying to say? I'm so lost. But
About
my
the water, right? The cup.
yeah, yeah. Even when the scene ends, you know, Kane creepily he's like, I don't feel very well, and you see like a drop of blood in the water, the cup of water.
Yeah.
My best interpretation of why he focused on the fingers, how they looked through the water, it it very much so reminds me of the motion and the look of the worms inside that guy that
Oh yeah.
the original Kane cut into. Hey, I mean
Oh
that
okay.
might be a leap, could be completely wrong. This is just completely my interpretation because
Mhm.
it's not random. It's definitely not random. Like when they're talking to each other.
You're talking about specifically when the glass cup is there, and then their
Yeah,
fingers are going through, and then you see like
it's
the
just
water drops kind
it's
of like splitting or coming together.
so Alien Kane comes home and Natalie Portman. She's like, "Well, where have you been? You've been gone for 12 months." I get no answer. Like, what's up? And he's sitting at a table. She goes to sit at the table, and she like holds her hand in front, like behind the cup of water.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think there's even a moment where like she embraces his hands, and we see this through the cup of water. And when I first saw the movie the first couple of times, I was like, what the fuck? It just seems so random emphasis on this shot. But I think that the movement of their fingers through the cup is some kind of correlation to the movement of the worms inside that man. When Oscar Isaac like cut into the man, and there was like literal worms.
He was gunning that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a correlation between those two sequences. I don't know if you feel differently, but that's my best crack at what's up with the cup of water.
That's I didn't even take that in as a potential thing. The whole worms aspects to it, kind of, I never really could put two and two together with that.
Yeah.
What I got from the whole glass situation, because as you mentioned, there was a real emphasis by Alex when he was
sure.
doing that.
Yeah.
We had already been introduced to the whole kind of cell thing, right? She was a cell biologist, whatever it is. So when I saw the two, not the hand specifically, but the water residue, whatever, kind of coming together and separating, I was like, okay, this has something to do with that. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be a main key between them at some point. And after finishing the movie, what I thought the glass meant was, there's like the whole point of the shimmer, it sort of like refracts your DNA, right?
Yeah. Yeah, whatever goes into it gets
changed by the time you come out, right? Depending on how long you're in there. So what I got was, with Kane's hand being there through the glass, it showed that he was not the same person that he was before we get to realize as an audience member.
True. Yeah.
I thought that was sort of like a foreshadowing that he's different through the water. And by Natalie Portman coming there after having her hand, it was a sign that she's also going to be different. She was going to be refractored and potentially not even who she was by the end of the movie. That's what I thought. Okay. But I'm not entirely sure. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's you sit on that frame for like a solid 8 seconds.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to tell us something, but I'm not grasping.
Because the cells, because the way we are shown is they split and they keep multiplying and multiplying, right? So what I got from that by the end of the movie was these aliens they were those two cells, right? One is Natalie Portman, who's refractured, and then second is the alien Oscar Isaac, right? So now that they're able to get outside of the shimmer, they can spread and annihilate, essentially. Annihilate the world.
Right. So that's my best crack at that. Another thing is, like, at the very beginning of the film, when we realized that Natalie Portman she was like a teacher, and she was giving a speech about cells. Her delivery of that speech, it's so weird to me. It's almost like it was like the last thing that she wanted to be doing, you know? It's almost like she was like forcing the words out. And then that guy,
because she was like miserable, right? Because her husband was dead.
Yeah, that's what I picked up from that. Because at first, when I was first watching the film, I was like, "What the fuck is this bad line delivery? What the hell's going on?" I'm like feeling uncomfortable about her talking about cells.
It's like, yeah, I don't want to learn about this shit either. Like,
but I was like, when we see her run into that professor at the end that she's been having an affair with, I was like, oh, she's been going through a tough time probably because she's been sleeping around with this guy, you know?
Yo, I don't know if it was the execution necessarily, but it took me a little while for me to get those elements to put together, what was happening there.
Yes.
I don't know if that was just me, because I was like, okay, there's this man, and I'm like, Kane's been gone, and then I realized nearly towards the end of the movie, I'm like, oh, Kane was trying to almost off himself, he didn't want to be with her because of that. He was so hurt that he'd rather go on a suicide mission.
Yeah, this movie is like someone had a dream, they pulled it out of their brain and made a film out of it. That's what it's like for me. It's like watching an active dream or something.
Yeah.
What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, the tattoos. I think that this is a big one, actually. I think a lot of people are going to be sleeping. Hold on, I gotta go big screen again. I think a lot of people are going to be sleeping on the tattoos, because this picture of Kane right here, technically it's Alien Kane, but so Alien Kane, he comes out of Shimmer, and then he starts malfunctioning. He's he has internal bleeding and shit, and he's dying. Okay, so when he's in the hospital right here, the tattoo on his chest is of a bear.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Now, one of the most memorable sequences in the film involves this fucking satanic bear. right? I think he brought the bear in there. I think someone brought the worms in there.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I don't think that the Shimmer is evil. Personally, I really don't think that's evil. And I know that Alice Garland has spoke to this in a very implied way, because or even like Chris Stuckman's take on it. I think it's very valid. I don't think that the Shimmer is evil.
Oh, I haven't seen his review for that.
But thoughts on that? I think the Shimmer is totally not evil. I think anything that is horror-like or that is evil are things that people brought into the Shimmer. For those of you who don't know, Annihilation is... Well, first off, it was a book. It's part of a trilogy. Yep. And at least in the book, in the first book, Annihilation, the people that we see going into Shimmer, it's like the 12th expedition into the Shimmer. So I think anything evil horror-like is what people brought into it. But thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's I actually agree with you in the sense that the Shimmer isn't bad or good, and I think it has to sort of lean on to the idea of like it's just evolution. It's just all these things happening at once, right? And if it happens bad, it's just the outcome of everything being refractured. It's not intentionally like a sentient thing that's out to get people, mm-hmm. right? Like with the bear situation and stuff, I just think that was just it's a bear you're in the environment where those things can happen, natural disasters. So like when I was connecting back to the sort of what was I gonna say, a natural selection sort of deal.
Sure.
It's like natural disasters. Like, would you consider a bear attack like that just sort of a natural thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like do you think a hurricane is evil? I mean, it's not though. I mean, it's just
exactly. The bear was just it was a bear. It was So it was nature exactly, right?
And it's like, fam, I think he brought that bitch in there.
The bear?
Yes. I don't think that's random. They have a blatantly huge, by the way. I mean, granted, it's not like fucking like.
But how would he bring the bear in though? They're a military team going into there. They're like, let's just bring this giant grizzly bear with us. Let's ride onto it.
No. I mean, like not that they literally brought a bear in there, but like, I don't know how to explain this. It's like like for example, whatever your worst fear is, it might literally manifest in the Shimmer literally. Like if you were afraid of zombies.
That's so true because
like
literally her house was brought because literally dreams can be manifested. That's so true. You're right.
Yeah, I think that there's aspects of the interior of the lighthouse that are actually similar to Natalie Portman's house, the interior. Like it's really fucking trippy. You know what I'm saying? I think that motherfucker brought that bear in there.
No, that now that you mentioned that, that's actually totally possible.
Yeah, like if you have a fear of zombies, the reason why there's zombies in the Shimmer is probably because of you. So yeah, I think a lot of stuff that we see bizarrely was brought into the Shimmer, which sounds crazy, but I think that might be true.
No, I agree. I actually kind of agree with you on that because if the woman's thoughts and her voice was literally in the bear's growl or whatever you call it,
yeah,
then anything's fair game.
Which, for the record, can we talk about the bear scene?
Let's talk about it because I think this scene takes the cake of aggressive bear scenes in film. Revenant, you had it for that year. I'm sorry, you had it.
Yeah,
not this year.
I don't know. I think people are really overlooking just how well the suspense
CG?
Or the creepiness or how well the horror elements are so well executed. Because that bear sequence scared the literal fuck out of me, bro. First off, even let's just back up from the bear sequence. My girl, Gina Rodriguez, right? Fine as hell.
The crocodile scene when she got snatched?
No, no, no. Tessa Thompson was the one who got snatched. I
Oh,
forgot
sorry, you're right. Tessa Thompson was the one who got snatched.
what the hell was the character name. Maybe I should just go to I've been trying not to
I
go
low key
to.
have I have it right here. Tessa Thompson's character.
Yeah, I've been trying not to go to IMDb because sometimes they play like music like randomly, which they might in the next few seconds. Which I
Oh, they're distant. They don't even have names for the characters on the when you Google it. They
I
all they have
know.
is all they have is the biologist under Natalie Portman. Why are they
Yeah.
distant?
So yeah, Josie was one who got snatched by the crocodile, but what was the old girl? Okay, so Anya,
Mm.
when she, all right, so when they all wake up and they're all tied up and shit, and they're tied up because Gina
She loses her mind.
Rodriguez had tied them up and like gagged them, you know.
Jane the Virgin is just losing her shit.
And she's like, what did she say? She was like, she said something to the effect of like, I did this to you guys because
You guys think I'm gonna go crazy and then tell?
I was looking at my fingertips and I was looking at my hands and they were moving. Bro, that scene scares the shit out of me, you know? Because her madness is so convincing, you know? Like, it cuts to this shot of Natalie Portman looking like, girl. I was like, oh no, don't say that, woman. What are you talking about? And she was like, I don't want you guys to tie me down, see if there's worms in me. I was like,
Gonna
no.
gonna gut me and shit. We saw the video.
I was like, no. God, I don't know. There's just something about that. Because I think, like, losing your mind or, like, dementia, that's a big time fear of mine. And I don't know. That just creeps the fuck out of me. And then when
Yeah.
the bear comes in and it has to scream of that chick that it just killed, Shepard, thoughts on that when you were watching that for the first time? Like, how long did it take you to
I was
realize that the roar was her scream?
I kind of got it right off the bat, and
Same.
I was very confused.
Same.
As the film was progressing and it got to those moments, I kind of found the initial sort of um, thriller elements, like Tessa Thompson's character getting yanked. I kind of found it just like sort of was like random, almost
Okay.
initially,
Mm-hmm.
and a little jarring. But the second scene where we have another animal come in when it was like the half bone with the roar, that was just disturbing.
Yeah.
It was very like unsettling. I just felt uncomfortable. I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" This bear, like, not because it was cringy or bad, but just because of how well I thought it was executed. Just very chilling, dude. Like, what? Like, why are you screaming her death, fam?
It was so creepy to me, like because it took a few seconds for it to sink in. I was like, "Why is that bear's roar sound like that? Something's off." But then when it
Yeah,
sank in, I just felt like getting in the fetal position.
yeah, it was very unsettling, I'd say.
And then when Anya gets killed by the bear,
Oh,
her screams are some of the eeriest things I've heard so far this year. I
yo, she
just
got
can't
wrecked.
shake it.
She got so wrecked. Oh my god.
God, when she was screaming, I almost wanted to look away. It sounded so genuine. And then when she just gets like swiped by the bear and like her whole fucking like lower jaw is just like removed, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, and see, that's what kind of connects to the idea I had was like only the weakest. Not trying to say that those things that they were all going through were bad, but in a sense for like evolution and natural selection, I guess it's like the weakest elements that you have in people, whether losing your mind and stuff. Once those get manifest and they pop up,
Yeah.
you're not making it to the lighthouse, right? Because that's sort of like
Yeah.
the end of the line, which the aliens wanted. That was my interpretation that I was thinking about. It's like only the strongest can make it to the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Who the aliens wanted to take over their body, right? And what's her name? Jennifer.
Jason Leigh, yeah.
Yeah, she almost made it,
Yeah.
right?
Or well,
But
I mean she
did technically, but
Yeah.
how would I describe that? Because that connects to another thing. I just got an idea about her eyes. Like, what the fuck was going on with her eyes?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna pause speaking on that just yet because the ending just drops off into like what the fuck, Bill. But
So we'll get to that in a bit. But like I was saying, it just really that's what I got, the natural selection stuff, and that's why they're all going one by one. And yeah,
damn. After Anya dies and the bear turns to Natalie Portman because she's been like overturned, and it like just races after her and she's like backing up, but Natalie Portman she's still tied to the chair. Woo man, I literally
Oh, no.
I literally jumped in my seat. I was like move woman, move.
we
Good
also just talked about how
God.
much of a badass Natalie Portman was just shooting those shots where they're showing her in slow motion, just
Yes.
fucking shooting the bear or the crocodile. Oh,
Yeah, when
so
she was
badass.
shooting that crocodile, and then it like, because I think it was in slow motion, and then it goes to regular speed, and she kind of like stands. I was like, yo, that was raw as
That
fuck.
was tight. Yeah, that was tight, man.
Her performance is so good. Like when she wakes up, and she's being interrogated by Jennifer Jason Leigh. Her performance during that scene gives me goosebumps. Like it literally looked as if Natalie Portman had been asleep for 2 weeks, and then they
Mhm.
woke her up on set and just start rolling. I'm not even exaggerating. Every scene, whether she's being vulnerable or she's in pain or she's conflicted, whatever, like she's just like passes flying colors. It's
Yeah, no,
wild.
she really did a really great job in this one, like performance wise, I'd say.
Even before she goes into the shimmer, the look on her face before she goes inside, as if
She looked like she just found out that the WWE's fake.
like you can tell
She was shook.
she wants to go in, clearly, but like at the same time, it's almost like she's looking like, why am I even doing this? Or like, what other better option in my life is there? Which is
Well,
kind of
she was the only one who went in there without the intent of trying to kind of die, right?
like she went in there. I feel
Because
like
all the other women wanted they didn't care, right?
in my opinion, I feel like none of them initially cared what was on the other side of the shimmer. Like when Natalie Portman, when she learns that that's their mission, that they're going into the shimmer, their reactions to me are really eerie because it's like I don't know what to compare that to. It's very much so like the Suicide Force in Japan.
Yeah,
I can't think of the real term.
exactly. It was. I kind of get what you're going with that one.
It's like meeting a group of people who are psyched about going into the Suicide Force for a couple weeks. It's like something's off with you guys, you know?
Yeah, because they like they're damaged goods, right?
Yeah,
And they're all comfortable with dying. I think they kind of said that in the first scene when they all meet each other,
hmm
right?
yeah, in a way,
So
yeah. I don't know, something about that bothers me because I think a lot of people sadly can understand that.
mhm.
Like I probably shouldn't do this. I might not make it back, but honestly, my life is so uninteresting. Why not chance it?
Yeah, they really had a lot to talk about. It was like not subtle, but there was an underlying theme of just like mental health and like depression and like
Mm.
how self destruction can lead you to. Um, there's different forms of self destruction, and they kind of displayed various types
Yeah,
of them.
because like Jennifer Jason Leigh, she was saying, I should probably pull up her character name, but what is her character name? Oh, Ventress. Gotcha.
Interest, yeah.
When she was sort of like, you know,
She's on some fuck you shit towards the end. She's like, if you don't want to come, all right, I'm
right?
out of here.
But
That
like
was so funny.
drinking is a form of self destruction, or smoking, or eating junk food all the time. Yeah. Um, what else? What else can I say? There's some aspects of the shimmer like I'm curious. Like, was that like there from the beginning? Like,
What's up?
for example, before we see the crocodile, Natalie Portman is talking about this huge overgrowth of these flowers that appear to be coming from the same species. All the flowers are totally different
Hmm.
physically. They all seem to be coming from the same species. The same one source, which is odd. Or even like those weird, I think I might have a picture of that, those flower people. Like people like became
Hmm.
humanoid flowers. It's kind of hard to explain, but this picture right here. Right here. That one.
Yeah, the tree people.
This is tree people.
That
And
scene with Tessa Thompson was really when she became one of the tree people.
yes! Whoa, that's what I was talking about. Like a lot of
That fucked me up, dude.
the movie gets lost for me
Hmm.
or forgotten. That happens a lot. Or like I forget a lot of aspects. Like even on my third viewing, I was like, "What the fuck happened to Tessa Thompson?" Tessa Thompson, and I was like, "Oh yeah, she started like it looked like she was gonna become one of those flower people."
Yeah, she quickly jumped to that, and like you know what? I think one of the criticisms I would say
Hmm.
is in is how quickly some of those things just sort of transpire. And while I like we've been talking about this whole time, like the movie has a really high concept, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
absolutely love it, and it's very specifically executed.
Hmm.
It almost feels like a video game progression, I would say, apart from like the jumping back and forth. But like actually in the Shimmer, it's like we go to this location, next this
Sure.
location,
Yeah.
and it's fine, but it didn't work the best for me.
I wasn't too bothered by that. I just kept losing track of what happened to the characters because, like, literally, the last thing we see from Tessa Thompson is literally. Hold on a second. It's literally this image here,
They're just
and
playing
then
hide and seek.
she's just straight up gone, fam.
Yeah,
I'm like, old bitch is about to turn to a flower, and then like she's just gone, and then
she's
like
gone
we just see
because
Natalie
they have.
Portman. I think Natalie Portman was like looking out at a field of these like humanoid flower people,
And she's just like, all right, she's gone.
and we're just like, so Tessa became one of them? Question mark.
Yeah, because it's weird. I think that was the point. Like one of the complaints was I feel like I wish there was a little bit more of the characters. Like I feel like they weren't so like as bland. While I do think there's some, interesting ideas that we get about them, like with what like that contribute to the story and the ideas of the concept.
Hmm.
I wish we got more of the characters, but I don't think that was the point. I don't think
I
he
don't
intentionally
either.
wanted us to get more of that, but I wish we kind of did, and a little bit more of the Shimmer. Because like I said, it just feels like he's very cut, like very quick. Get the point, leave next, go to the next stage or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Go to this bear scene. Oh, this character's gone. Next character gone. Now we have Natalie Portman at the lighthouse. Yeah, I felt like that kind of went very quickly, and I wanted a little bit more of a characters, a little more back and forth before they died, so it wasn't just like, oh, you were the one who had cancer and died. Ah, shit.
No,
Oh, you're the crazy one.
that's an interesting point. I wasn't so bothered by that because I think the film is really about is trying to create an experience for you.
Yeah.
Is the movie's definitely experience for me. Like I kind of just let the movie like wash over me like an ocean wave when I watch it. Like I didn't take any notes for this movie at all because it's too trance like, you know?
Mhm.
And to me it's like literally watching an active dream. And I guess you could make a bunch of notes for that, but I couldn't just because I mean there might be ideas in the movie that aren't even meant to be solved potentially. I don't know. Like I think we should probably jump into the ending because
Oh yeah, we totally can, man. That's like for me, this was one of the first times where I've watched a movie.
hmm
And so we're talking about right when we get to the lighthouse
the
and
lighthouse and on.
Jenna. So you want to talk about the beginning of the lighthouse scene or right when she walks in?
Well, okay. First off, oh, I gotta pull up another image.
Because like
here.
I feel like that whole sequence gets wonky about three in three. It just gets there's three escalations to the wonkiness in that final scene. There's levels to this shit, to quote Drake.
Bro, the Alex Garland was just like, "Fuck it, fam. We're gonna give it to him for real. Fuck him. We're gonna tell him the truth. I don't care how confusing it is. It's just happening. I'm gonna send you some images here.
Yeah, the whole beat sequence to the tree. Like, okay, let me just talk about the visuals for this movie.
Yes.
This
Hold on.
film,
I'm gonna send you
directing wise,
Mm-hmm.
cinematography,
It's amazing.
and the sort of creative direction they went with this is definitely on one. It's really well done. It's some of the visuals in this thing are ridiculous, and especially when it comes to the directing, man. Like Alex Garland, did I say last name right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so well done. The
Which-
directing for this is so like it's like when you say the dreamlike aspects to it, in just a lot of the shots between Oscar Isaac and Natalie Portman, or Natalie Portman talking to any of the other characters, it's just so like well put together, the shots, and like blurry almost.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how I describe it? Like dreamlike when they were talking to each other in a lot of the scenes. That's what I felt.
There's let me pull up this image here. I think the like the white balance in the film is very strange. Like there's always like this milky grayed out
Right?
haze to the cinematography.
100%.
Which is kind of similar to Rivals, sort of, just a tiny bit. Like this image right here, it just feels like something sort of dreamy. The way that the lights are so kind of over the exposure, you know. Another thing worth mentioning is just like You know how when you watch a J.J. Abrams film, you might see like lens flares.
Yeah,
Like rainbows or like rainbow light is pretty much like the lens flare of this movie. There's so
yeah, the
many
refractors.
there's so many instances where there's like a little thread rainbow light or like a soft hue in the background. There's a lot going on, but where's okay, so this moment where she's on the beach and she just leaves her bag behind. At first, I didn't think too much about it, but on repeated viewings, I feel like that is just her saying, like, like straight up within the next few minutes, I might die, for real.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the meaning for that. She just like she's made it to the end. Everyone she was with at this point didn't survive, and she's going in with only, it's either you fight or you flight, right? So
Yeah,
she has her assault rifle ready to go. That's all she needs. She doesn't care if she makes it out. That's
yeah.
what I kind of got.
Like this is why she's here. Like she's just totally unconcerned if she makes it or not. That was really interesting to me. Another thing that was interesting is just the environment. Man, the CGI is borderline perfect in my opinion.
Hmm.
Somehow they found a way. There's something about the color palette that makes the CGI really convincing. Because anytime that like Tessa Thompson was standing next to like a tree person, or whenever the fuck
When she was in the Garden of Life.
the where I hope I took a picture of it. Let's see. Um. Oh yeah, when Jennifer Jason Leigh finds this fucking weird growth thing on this wall right here. Yeah, let me show you. You remember that sequence? That shit was so bizarre.
Oh yeah, that was wild. That reminded me of some sort of like alien Giger work right there.
What the fuck is going on? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure what that moment is even supposed to recommend or mean. My best crack is A. All right. Damn it. We're gonna have to back up here. So in this sequence here,
So that one actually in that was a pool, I think.
oh
We were
no,
talking about
I went full
what was
screen.
that?
What? What were you
The one
saying?
where the guy's body's growing and there's like rocks and trees and shit stemming out of it.
Yeah, the last image I sent you with the weird growth. My best crack is that A. It has the infinity tattoo. Hold on a second. This is gonna take a second to
Yeah,
explain.
the snakes eating each other.
Yeah, did I show you the? Okay, yeah, the last picture that I sent you with Natalie Portman.
Yeah, her in the chair.
Yeah, so she has a tattoo on her left arm, and I believe it's of the infinity symbol. Except it's like two snakes eating each other. First off, she didn't have that tattoo when she went into the goddamn shimmer. First off,
Yep.
A B. She grows the tattoo. There's a moment where she's on a boat with Shepard, and she's like, "Oh, I got this weird bruise on my arm," and they showed that exact spot, and there was just a bruise there. So she grew the tattoo. That's what I'm trying
Yep.
to tell you. I don't know what the fuck that means, but she grew a tattoo. The reason
That's
why,
us. I think that soldier had the same tattoo as well. Or Jane the Virgin had the tattoo. I mean.
yeah, there's a couple other characters who like mysteriously get like Gina Rodriguez. She had the tattoo.
Hmm.
I think there's even some moments where Oscar Isaac has a tattoo and he doesn't. It's very bizarre. Um, Not sure what's going on with that. I think I was researching this before, but anyway, that was a long answer to say that weird growth thing that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Um, there's like a humanoid person at the top. On that person's arm is that same tattoo. Okay, same tattoo. It's very bizarre, and it appears to be a woman, as far as I can tell. So I don't know, like it. I don't know what that means. It's so bizarre. Another thing that's worth mentioning is the way that the skull is separated from the lower jaw. It's very reminiscent of our last look at Jenna Rodriguez when she's ripped apart by the bear. So, not sure what all that means. Thoughts on that? I don't know.
Not entirely too sure.
Not
What I
sure.
got from the splatter, I guess, scene,
Yeah.
it was just the shimmer at work. The dead body, once it was gone, just sort of meshed with the wall, some rocks, and
It could be saying
I
that.
think its inner just spread out and just yeah. What are you saying?
It could maybe also be saying that a lot of what we're experiencing on Natalie Portman's expedition has been repeated in the past. So there could be that as well. Um,
Okay.
maybe people have died in very similar ways in the past, gone crazy in similar ways in the past, I suppose.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah, I think that might have been like just a visual representation of it too, because we did
yeah,
see there was a base that they were held up at, and because obviously only two people have ever made it to the light, three people including Jennifer,
yeah,
because I guess they just weren't strong enough, they couldn't make it, right?
yeah. Because again, the way that Jen Rodriguez looks when she dies, how her lower jaw is ripped off. If you look at that growth on that wall, the way that his head is separated from his lower jaw, I feel like that can't be just a blind coincidence. So, yeah,
Maybe
maybe
it's
people.
maybe it's maybe it's showing that they died for similar causes, like same
Hmm.
exact things.
Another thing that we almost just totally brushed over
Yeah.
is when they find our main crew, they find a camera that says, I can't remember, there was like a note on it, I can't remember what the fuck it said. Um, but they play the footage back, and it shows Oscar Isaac and his crew essentially losing their fucking minds. and he's
They're just bored and wanted to have a good time, so let's just
and
stab this guy and see what's inside him.
and Kane, he's like cutting into one of his buddy's stomach. That
Just not the buddy,
sequence,
the one who splattered.
huh?
The guy who was gutted. Is that not the same guy on the wall?
I don't think it is. I think the
Okay.
growth on the wall is a woman. At first, I was like, "Wait, is that Lena?" But it can't be Lena. That doesn't make sense because that wasn't implied. So I don't know what's going on with that. It looks like a woman, but when Kane is cutting into that guy, he's like kissing his forehead, and like it has some of the creepiest fucking music I've ever heard, and
Yeah.
he's like reaching inside. It's almost like he knew the worms were there. Just
Hmm.
really makes me think that maybe Kane brought the worms in. Don't know, but
No,
anyway, what'd you think of that sequence? Because it scared the flying fuck out of me. Because at first I was like, what?
I
What?
was just like, what the? I was like, literally, I thought I said like out loud. I was like, what the actual fuck? Like, what's going on here? Because then that was just a new element, like added on. It's like, are there some worm creatures in this thing? Is it all mental?
You know what was scary to me? It wasn't until one of them shuts the camera off that I realized, oh my god, they lost their minds. That's what's happened. They lost their minds. That scared me really, really bad.
Yeah, because the whole idea of it's like the shimmers, like, as they're in there, the farther they go in and the longer they're there, they're losing their sanity, right?
Yes.
They're changing literally. Um,
And
so I guess those who couldn't adapt, who couldn't survive,
mhm. Yeah, I
see
guess
ya.
it's almost like I don't know if this is a bad comparison, but it's almost like the shimmer is like acid, like LSD, Because I mean, not everyone has a bad trip. No, for real. Not everyone. No, for real. A lot of time people have a bad trip. It's
Shimmer
because
confirmed LSD.
it's what they brought to it. I'm being straight up. A lot of
No,
people, when they do psychedelics, a lot of times they have a bad trip. It's because of some weird shit they brought into it.
so essentially the shimmer is just like a one. It's a hardcore drug, and then either you die or you don't.
I think what's supposed to happen is when you get in the shimmer, you should be taking it in the same way that that you would be taking LSD for real. Like you should go in there completely emotionally
Tom's
neutral, no weapons. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. Because Jay-Z, he said once that I'm just a mirror. If you're happy, I'm happy. If you're mad,
word.
I'm mad. I think that the shimmer is very similar. If you go in angry, you're gonna see some angry shit. If you
Facts.
got fear of giant spiders, you might see some giant spiders walking around. So maybe like the crocodile at the beginning of the film. I know we touched on it kind of lightly, but like the crocodile, I think someone just brought that thing in there. Maybe it's
And
their worst
and
fear, or
no, definitely, and like I think that might connect because was Tessa Thompson's character, was she was like apprehensive initially, no?
About like going into the shimmer, or
Yeah, was she going? Was she? You think she was?
I don't think so. Because when Natalie Portman first meets this crew, Tessa, Shepard, Anya, when she meets them for the first time, they seem, I don't know about excited, but they seem definitely eager to go into the
Hmm.
shimmer, And it seems very like voluntary, It seems like they volunteered to go into the shimmer as well, which I think is really fascinating. That
Hmm.
someone chose to go inside that bitch. I'm not going in there. But like, fam, you can't even like you can't communicate back. Another thing that I love is that as soon as they go into Shimmer, shit happens immediately. Like as
Oh
soon as
yeah,
they go into the Shimmer, they were just like, "Wait, what the fuck?" Does anyone remember the last 5 days? No.
yeah. So okay, about talking about that briefly, do you think that has any significance to the story? Or do you think it was just sort of like a side effect, just happened just because? Because it almost seems like something like so weird if
No,
they just sort of
fam.
disregard.
I think it's a side effect. I think the Shimmer is very much so like LSD or like a psychedelic drug. That might sound funny out of context. That might be literal. You know.
Hmm.
Why? That's hard to say. Because I feel it must be some form of like a test, you know? Because first off, the Shimmer, it actually is some form of alien technology. Because we blatantly see some kind of meteorite hit the Earth, it hits the lighthouse, there's a rainbow, and then the Shimmer
Yeah,
is born. So it's factually from space.
that
Which
was a great
that,
opening. By that was a great opener, by the way.
yeah. Which, how creepy is that? That, like, it's just something that fell out of space.
Yeah, that's that. I think that was one of the more interesting elements. There's a lot of interesting elements. One of the coolest
Yes.
parts was it was a very just unconventional alien invasion, I guess you could say, if you want to look
Yeah.
at it like that, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, what I got was like it was just a species, whether they were like super advanced or not, that was just sort of observant,
Yeah.
and they wanted to take over. Maybe they didn't, but they were the way they went about it was very
Hmm.
just evolution based. There was mind their own business and just trying to
Yeah.
they weren't trying to like for example, if they wanted to take over the world, they could have just made the shimmer kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah. 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 I think the Shimmer it's got to be some kind of test that probably can be solved. More than likely.
Well, it was
Uh.
solved. It was solved by the end of the movie.
Yeah. That's see.
Because
This.
to me, what I got from it was the aliens like Natalie Portman thought she won by destroying it, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's exactly what the being wanted.
So at the end of the film, it appears that the Shimmer is gone.
We
It's
skipped the whole. We'll connect back to the ending. We'll talk about
right.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. 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 So the lighthouse, I guess. For one, I can't really make heads or tails yet of what's up with like the skeletons outside of the lighthouse. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. Fuck
yeah,
that, fam.
someone mentioned to me like, "What do you think about the bones and stuff?" And I'm like, I honestly couldn't tell you.
Fam. And for those of you who've lost track, I'm just talking about this moment right here. What is going on here, fam? Another thing that's odd is that it looks like the bones were set there in a certain order. You know,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like random placement. So I don't know what the fuck happened there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know either. I really can't pin it.
So they go inside, or Natalie Portman goes inside. She sees Ventress, who like her eyes are covered by skin for some reason, and
Yeah,
and then oh lord, and then Ventress, this bitch explodes right into this.
very much so.
She explodes into this entity, which I've been doing some research on. So I'm gonna
Fam,
show.
it looked like it was like a commercial for like some new Sony earphones or some shit. And we're looking at like the voice, like the visual representation of sound or some shit. I
What?
was like, what was going on?
Apparently, this image is too big for me to send to you. That's
Word.
different. So if you, well, I guess if you can just, that's weird that the image is too big for me to send to you. But basically, what I can't send Michael for some reason is this image right here. If you can Google the word, let me see. Why is this not
Word.
playing? It's Mandel bulb. So it's M A
Mandel.
Mandelbulb, and just put Annihilation after that,
Okay.
or just Google that, Google image that. So basically, Jennifer Jason Leigh explodes into light. That light forms into a mantle bulb that has a big cavity at the front. It's like it's some weird fractal thing.
Dude,
Like,
that shit was wild.
and when Natalie Portman is staring into this goddamn
Oh, that was such a
fractal,
good scene.
why can't I open this image? There's like
Yeah, that was some visually trippy shit.
right there. But you guys get the picture. I'm gonna go back to Michael now.
Thank you. It reminded me of Interstellar when he was going through the black hole. Matthew
I,
McConaughey.
unfortunately, I could tell that this sequence is gonna just totally lose people. But like, I love it for so many reasons. First off, the music that's playing. It's my favorite song from the film, and it's not a part of the official soundtrack. But I don't know. Can I show the peeps this? Let me see something. Can you motherfucker see that? Let's see. Oh, you can, you dirty bitches. Look at that. That's the song right there. When she's looking into that mantle bulb, that's the song that's playing. I've been playing this song on repeat, nonstop, like a psychotic.
Yo, send me the links to that. I want to listen to it again.
Yeah, it's so short, but it's such a goosebumps inducing, like eerie but beautiful ambient piece of ambient music. It's just amazing. There's something really blissful about it. And when she's staring into that bitch, she's having an experience that I can't speak to explicitly. And that's fascinating to me. Like, a character is witnessing something that I can't describe what she's experiencing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I can't speak to what she's feeling. It appears that she's having some kind of euphoric sensation from whatever the fuck she's looking at, you know? And then bizarrely, the mantle bulb takes some blood off her face and makes a doppelganger of her that looks like some bizarre rainbow. Like, the skin is rainbowish, like the shimmer. And it's like naked, you know, it doesn't have features, doesn't have nipples or anything like that. And it starts to mirror her movements.
That was one of the most like. See, that's exactly when I was just like, "What the actual?" So
What
for me,
the
it
fuck?
for me the it was three levels to that whole entire sequence. So
Yes.
the first one was realizing that Kane was there's a second Kane,
Yes.
right? Which I kind of saw coming.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes. By the way,
And
the hole that she goes into,
Yep.
we see that a similar hole outside the lighthouse, or maybe yeah, we see that a similar hole like on the outside of the lighthouse. We see a similar hole when Jennifer Jason Leigh discovers that weird growth thing on the wall. That similar hole is there, so there's definitely a correlation. It's definitely not random. I haven't figured it out what it means, but there's a correlation for sure.
Fifth viewing, you'll get it. But yeah, like there's three levels to it for me. First one is when they figure out the video and Oscar Isaac. The second thing is when you see Jennifer and then the being pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third is when the thing just fully photocopies her and they start doing the whole dance and stuff. That was just like one of the most creepy, like interesting, but the one of the most by far bizarre things I've ever seen in the theater.
No, I would go as far as saying any movie. It's one of the strangest fucking sequences. First off, the sound design goes to a new level of creepiness. It's all wonky and
I can see why people make I can see why some people may get really like weirded out or turned off by that sequence.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, like as I was kind of getting the concept, the idea of the film,
mm-hmm.
and kind of connecting it together and thought about it after, I'm like, I thought that scene was like fantastic and just hit back home the ideas that they were trying to get with that film. Although I guess I could see some people thinking it's a little pretentious, but I thought it was fantastic.
I thought it was fantastic because it never felt cheesy, you know? It never felt like I was just like... like, I never had that reaction. There was something genuinely artistic, surreal. I think that's what it was. It was just so insanely surreal. The last, like, 15 minutes of this movie are just as strange as, like, the last 15 minutes of 2001: Space Odyssey. Equally as strange. Just like, what the fuck just happened? I actually think it's hauntingly beautiful, the more we're... Because it is herself, first off. Can we say that? I think that's a fair statement.
Mhm.
the doppelganger. I think it's herself. Granted, it's the Shimmer. I want to get technical, but it is her.
Yeah,
The only reason why it became violent is because of her.
yeah,
It's almost like the Shimmer got pissed off and was just trying to say like, hey, you're not listening, okay? I'm just trying to tell you, I'm just a mirror, okay? I do what you do, basically, in all
yeah.
aspects, you know? And it's like the humans that enter the Shimmer aren't given it. It's almost like the Shimmer got pissed off. It's like, motherfucker, I'm just a mirror. Like, you don't have to be afraid. And that's how I took it. Could be
Yeah,
wrong.
similar stuff. I got the whole idea with the cell splitting, so it became her.
Mm-hmm.
It split, and I don't I, like just thinking about that just gives me fucking like weird goosebumps, dude. That was a weird ass scene, man. So fucking like I felt like I was watching like she was being abused, bro. That was fucked.
Right?
They just kept going back and forth, play flip for a bit, and then once it started like bodying her and like encompassing her face, I was like, I felt uncomfortable. I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. What do you think she was experiencing when she was looking inside of the mantle bulb?
I thought I thought the edibles hit. That'd be a good meme. That'd be a really good meme.
That would be. That's why I've been trying because clearly that's my favorite scene of the whole movie.
I
When
don't know
she's
what I can't tell you what I think she was experiencing, but I thought it had something to do maybe with. You think she was maybe learning?
maybe upstream color is sort of like this where you're seeing characters receiving a physical sensation, but it's not explicit what they're experiencing. I find that interesting. I could totally understand someone's like, well, I don't fucking get it. He's pretentious. Blah. But I think it's fascinating to think about. Maybe she is learning. Maybe she's finally being shown that, like, oh, Jesus Christ, maybe the Shimmer just isn't evil. Maybe it isn't creepy, you know?
Maybe it was just learning about just the process of how it got there and how the species got there, evolution and shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Another thing is I think maybe it was copying her. Like that was like the process of the it becoming making a photocopy.
Just the early stages of her copying her.
Yeah.
Her blood gets in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Um,
one thing I got from it too.
it's so odd that, like, it appears that when she gives the bomb, which, by the way, what a bizarre grenade. What do they call that shit? Like a phosphorus?
Phosphor. Yeah, that was kind of random, but
So odd. All right. I have to research
shit,
into
why
that
not?
too. But anyway, when she gives it the grenade, she walks out, and it like creepily morphs into um, it morphs into like a second Natalie Portman, and then like
Yeah.
it de-evolves as she walks out of the lighthouse, and then the lighthouse catches on fire. And for the record, the music during this sequence is like orgasmic. It's so good. Anyway, and then like the trees, they all like fall in like this dramatic fashion. So this must be the first time this has ever happened. And then the Shimmer does appear to disappear. So
Yep.
I guess she solved it. She solved the
Well,
puzzle.
so here's my initial thought. So at first I was like, oh, she did it. Wow, good job. Yay. But then I kind of thought about it a little more and I'm like, no, dude, the being, whatever we're gonna call it,
Mm-hmm.
the shimmers, it wanted her to do that.
It wanted her to kill herself.
Yeah, because then while it didn't take well, so first of all, do you think that the being, because we don't really see the way that it was shot, it's meant to look like Natalie Portman. The original Natalie Portman is the one that gets out,
Mm-hmm.
not the clone. Do you
Oh
think it was a
yes.
clone, or do you think it was Natalie Portman, like the actual character, the first one?
I think that as soon as Natalie Portman enters the Shimmer, no matter what, that exact same Natalie Portman does not leave. I think.
No, I agree. So I think the clone didn't make it out, but
Like
I
the
think by the time that she got out of the out and back with Kane,
uh-huh.
the alien Kane, she wasn't the same person anymore because her DNA was literally switched and refracted. Um,
You know,
That's what I got from it.
this might become like a fucking, is Deckard a replicant or not type of.
Well, I definitely think that was some they're trying to go for that with the whole ice flicker thing.
Because I don't know, because she doesn't appear to be. She doesn't seem to suffer any physical anomalies when she leaves the Shimmer, which is unusual. She's like the first like truly successful person to leave the Shimmer in a way.
Yeah, dude, she was the best. She was the best one out of the pool.
I mean, granted, the alien Kane comes out, but like it's not Kane. It's not the guy who went in there. What's weird is that the alien Kane asks, like, "So are you?"
Because Natalie Portman knows that there's something up with him. She knows that by the end of the movie, because she saw the video, she knows this is not my husband.
Right.
But I think she's fine with that.
Yeah, and he's like,
because she isn't the same person either, right?
I don't know. He's like, so are you Lena? And she doesn't answer the question. Bizarrely, she just embraces him with a hug, which I thought was very strange.
So to me, maybe you think because she looked into that, you think maybe the alien species kind of like programmed some shit into her, like, no, you're gonna go back to
100%. Yeah.
So that could be the thing. It could be like, even though the alien there wasn't two verbatim, just the clones, they're still going to be able to carry out their plan of whatever it is, annihilating the Earth or whatever.
That's another thing. It's like, so what is the purpose of Alien Kane now? Like, what's the purpose of him? What's the point of having him leave the Shimmer?
Well, because now the point is, before the aliens weren't able to exit the Shimmer, right?
Yeah.
But now, after the events of the film and it being gone and Natalie Portman coming in and all that, they're able to exist outside of it. So that's why they wanted to destroy it, because there was no need for it anymore. So they could live amongst humans. That's what I got. They could live amongst humans, and they're just there. And if they want to continue the thing is, it's like, I don't think it would be a necessary verbatim like alien invasion, because that's not at all what they're trying to go for.
Sure.
Right? They're all about evolution and taking time. So over a period of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have now fully successfully entered the human, population, or whatever you want to say, right? Because what happens when they have a kid?
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's what they were maybe going for. That's what I got from it.
Maybe. I don't know. It seems so strange that it's like Natalie Portman solved the Shimmer. Like it was like maybe the Shimmer. I think Shimmer had to have been some kind of test, like a really bizarre test / puzzle. I guess from aliens.
Natural selection, bro. They wanted the best, so they could the final result, which was they wanted to be how would you say it? Integrated with humankind.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like the Shimmer and Area X is just like the beginning of aliens setting up a eventual meet and greet.
No, but legit.
No,
deadass. Because they got what they wanted. They were able to exist outside the Shimmer. They had the strongest survived out of the test trials.
Yeah,
Natalie Portman, and now they can have a child and all that shit. I don't know.
It's so odd the way the movie is, the way that we're given the present day and the past and like flash forwards. Like, for example, when we're first greeted with Natalie Portman and it's a flash forward, and she blatantly tells us like who lives and dies in the film that we're about to watch. That was such a bold. Did you think that was a bold decision or a bad decision? I really liked it because it made the movie feel. It's gonna be a weird comparison, but it made the film feel like Fruitvale Station in a way, because Fruitvale Station with Michael B. Jordan, which is based on a real guy, by the way, but that film pretty much opens up with the fact that like you already know that Michael B. Jordan's gonna die before the movie ends, and then we start to watch the film, because he's kind of wrongfully killed by a policeman, and but it gives the story this sinister, ominous energy. In my opinion. This level of creepiness, like, oh shit, I already know their fates. That's odd. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely think in certain situations it's a ballsy, narrative choice that can work, and it really makes me want to go back and watch the first act of that movie again with all those cuts and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you already know some of those characters their fate, and they're not the most, I would say, like dynamic or fleshed out, in my opinion, That's where I think the issue comes in, because like I know they're gonna die and I don't even know too much about them, so it's like I wish I knew more about them. So when they did end up dying, I'm just like, oh fuck. Although some of the way that they do die is pretty horrific, like the bear.
Yeah.
I think that may have came from that intro.
Well, a lot of their send-offs aren't even entirely explicit. Like, did Tessa become a tree? What? Jennifer Jason Leigh just became a fucking ball of light, I think. You know? Shepard was eaten by a fucking bear. You know what I'm saying?
It's weird. That's. I guess a lot of those explanations have to come down for what your interpretation of the film was, and if they make sense with that.
Sure.
Because I know another interpretation was another reason why I just like this film. Why I liked it quite a bit was how many times you could watch and how many different interpretations you can get from it. You could watch it one time and say this movie is about cancer. You could watch this movie and be like it's about self-destruction. You can watch it again and be like this is about evolution and then alien invasion, right? So that's why I really liked a lot of parts of this movie for the concepts.
Yeah. What I think there was something else I was gonna. Oh yeah, like one sequence that I always forget about somehow because the movie's just told in such a dreamy way. Is the sequence where they're, I think they're on the highway or something, and they're in an ambulance, and fucking alien Kane is dying, and out of fuck nowhere. I guess the government's just been tracking them this whole fucking time, unbeknownst to them. And the government just straight out shows up as if like a scene out of Transformers or something. Like no bullshit, SWAT team and everything, and just like kidnap them for lack of a better term. Like I forget that sequence happens all the time. You know, it's like a blatantly big sequence. You know.
Okay, that's a good question. So, how do you think they would know about that?
Damn,
because to our idea, he said he just popped up there. He literally just like kind of teleported in front of the house, right?
Yeah. I mean, according to Alien Kane, he's just like, how I found my way home. I don't know. I was just here, you know. And I mean, we know they were both in the army, Natalie Portman and Kane.
Yeah.
By the way, how strange is it that when they're discussing going into Shimmer, Natalie Portman, she's not like, oh, well, I'm going into Shimmer because I want to maybe find a way to fix him and cure him. You know, I love him. She doesn't say that.
She goes because she owes him.
Yeah.
That's what she feels like.
That was a really interesting way to put it. I owe him. They're both in the military. They're both on terrible circumstances because of the affair. I found that really interesting to me. I had a better answer to that, but yeah, it's interesting to me.
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because it's like she went to Shimmer just for like just terrible reasons, you know, not like sensible reasons. I guess is my point, you know, because I would never go into the Shimmer. I would never.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm never gonna spend like, hey guys, let's go spend a week in the Suicide Forest. Like, no, I'm good, fam.
Were they being compensated for that?
Huh?
They were being compensated, or did they volunteer to do that?
I think they just straight non-profit just said fuck it.
No way in hell.
Let's go into that Shimmer, fam.
Fuck that.
No, it's way too creepy. What do you think about the Shimmer, like CGI wise?
Oh, it looked beautiful. It was really well done. I thought it looked nice. On a side note, guys, this movie's also going to be on Netflix soon, so if you guys want to check it out, it's going to be on Netflix in a couple days.
Yeah. And I know
if you want to talk about that, too, like the whole idea of, like, just, like, money-wise and, like, it being on Netflix and whatnot.
Yeah, a lot of you guys don't know, but Annihilation is going to be jumping on Netflix very soon. And that's just... I think this... Just a long story short, I think the studio was just dead serious fucking worried about this movie. This movie is way too smart. It's way too complex. It's way too open to interpretation for, like, a mass audience to just chew on this thing. So I think the studio just got a little bit scared, and they're like, fuck it, let's just throw this thing on VOD really quick. Because we just don't know. I mean, we like what you're selling.
Yep.
It's weird.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head there, right? It's only available in theaters for a limited time for North America, China, and then one other place, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they weren't very confident in, not that they don't think it was maybe a good movie, but like you said, general audiences, you know, we've seen this with these sort of high concept films, that they may not be received and in turn not really make the most money.
Yeah.
So I think they just opted out for selling it to Netflix for a good amount of money, right?
Yeah, because a lot of it, like one, it's a very slow movie. Like one thing I was caught off by was I was caught off guard by was the stillness.
Hmm.
Like it's such a the movie moves so slowly. When I was first watching it for the first time, I was like, oh damn, like this, this is very like
Oh no!
sluggish. Oh no,
Oh no!
like the movie's just creeping, dog. I was never bored though, but it's a very slow, quiet movie. You know.
Oh, do you know what? Do you know what? Oh, that was the movie I was trying to think of. Um, this movie very much so reminds me of this 19, or I had it over. It's 19. I think it was 1979.
Mm-hmm.
Film Stalker. Have you seen Stalker?
Ooh, Tarkovsky. I sadly I have not. I'm aware of it.
Yeah, this film gives me very similar vibes. It's a sci-fi film. It's about going into this sort of illegal zone, like that's I guess similar to The Shimmer, but not. Very similar films, and
Yeah.
that one moves very slow as well. But there's just something about just how it's done, you know?
Yeah, and by the way, peeps, the this film is a part of a book series that's a trilogy that sadly we're probably never gonna see a full film trilogy. Which my God, what I would pay to see Alex Garland um, make the make the next two books into films. I would pay so much money to see that. That's never gonna happen, which is sad. But that would be really cool to see though.
Hmm.
I think there's pieces of the other two novels in Annihilation, so it's like whatever. But
Yeah.
another thing that was really cool, I guess, I did love the chapters.
All
That
the way they
was
sort of broke it down,
very,
yeah.
that was very well done. Because by the time it got to the Shimmer, the title card, I was just like,
Let's go.
let's get it. Yeah, I guess I know we've been running long here, but like I've
Oh,
been struggling to figure out a way to do a review for this movie. It's very difficult to review.
there's a lot of things you have to figure out like what your stance was on and
Yeah,
like the idea of the film too, right?
yeah,
Although there was a lot. I mean, I guess I can just run through just like a quick kind of recap what we thought maybe.
yeah. I don't. I'm trying to think if there's anything else major that I wanted to. I think I mentioned all the major beats that I wanted to talk towards. Yeah. Again, the movie's a 10 out of 10 for me. I think it's a deeply misunderstood masterpiece. I think we'll receive more appreciation as time goes on, big time. Especially as people like kind of run it through their minds more and more. People are gonna be like, "Man, goddamn, I'm really thinking about this movie a lot." I think you're gonna see that happen much more as the future comes closer and closer. And I'm really excited for Alice Garland. Like, goddamn, like this.
Yeah, he's no, I agree with you. He's 2 for 2 on critically acclaimed movies.
Yeah, I loved Ex Machina. I gave that a 10 out of 10 as well. I personally feel that Annihilation is like psychotically better than Ex Machina.
Okay.
It's so deep. It's just way more ambitious, way more visually stunning, way more complex and conceptually dense. I think Annihilation is just a way better movie, but that's just me personally, though.
Hmm.
I think
Uh,
people get stuck because the movie's intentionally confused, but it's intentional. Like the confusion is intentional. You know what I mean? There's a
no,
lot
definitely.
of visual metaphors going on. You know, but yeah, I think
I'm on
it's
the other end of that. I think
really
yeah, I think I think I prefer Ex Machina.
interesting.
That's more of a he has a very strong message and opinion that he's trying to say in his films
Yeah, yeah.
in ideas, and I do think while I do think Annihilation is much more out there, it's
Hmm.
much more concept heavy.
Hmm.
I felt like Ex Machina was a little more pinpoint, whereas this one it's a little broader in what it's trying to say, and I feel like Machina was a little more. How would I describe it?
To me, it's definitely more.
They're very different films, of course.
Yeah, I think Ex Machina is definitely more accessible as a film, or just as a narrative, where it's like Annihilation is like the complete other opposite.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I love it personally so much. I think
He took his time. He took his time with Ex Machina, and he kind of just he just blew his load with Annihilation.
And you gave Annihilation a 7, right? 7 out of 10.
I gave it just under the 8, so like 7.8,
Okay.
7.9.
Yeah. Closing thoughts. I don't know if I
Closing
have
thoughts:
any.
fantastic CG.
Yeah.
Directing is masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography, visually brilliant. Concept was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the ending was full on.
Blew my nuts out, fam.
Full on. Like I was actually so like I was just looking at my friend like, what is going on right now, in a good way.
Yeah.
Uh, Sort of, I guess, comments or like negative or things I felt weren't the greatest was I felt the movie was like so focused and it was so open that it almost lacked depth aside from the concept being because it was so out there
Mm-hmm.
for me. And I felt the characters a little bland. Could have been a little more with them, and just a linear progression of the movie aside from the jump cuts.
I'm trying
Like
to
when
I'm trying to scrape for some nitpicks or negatives. I genuinely really don't have anything.
Yo, what are those damn tree people?
They're just so minor, fam. I can't really think of a substantial negative. If I do, I'll include it in the comment section. If I had to pick a negative, I would say that maybe the stuff with her and the black professor. I don't know, but there was so much. I was just about to say maybe it wasn't necessary, but there was so little of it to fucking begin with, even that. I don't know. I really don't have any genuine issues with the film.
And that's all, folks.
Shit, the only problem I got is that writing notes for this was a fucking nightmare. That's all I got. I think we're done because we've been talking about this movie for like a goddamn hour and my legs hurt. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review for Annihilation. I tried to give you guys something really meaty here because it's just hard to talk about something that's like a puzzle and it's like a dream. It's like, god damn it.
Yeah. I definitely think you guys should go check it out if you want a hardcore sci-fi film, um,
Yeah.
with some thriller aspects and that'll make you think after. Go for it. Some
Mm-hmm.
people I've know who watched it and they said it was really they did. You know what I found? I didn't find many people who hated it. I found people who just said it was okay.
Yeah. I know a buddy who like he was just like I didn't fucking like that. What the fuck was that? I didn't like it. I was just like, man, calm down. But
And then other people who just like
like
thumbs up.
as soon as the rainbow dancing starts, they're just like, no. But
They
anyway,
should they should make that being have its own little dancing movie or something. Make a Black Swan sequel with that.
by the way, how fine was this female cast? You know what I'm saying? I thought they were attractive as fuck. I was just like, god damn. There's not a real weak link in this bitch. Anyway, moving on. We're done. Okay? I'm done with the review. I tried. Okay? Someone's gonna be like, Drell, you didn't mention. Well, I tried, nigga. Shit. It's a lot of movie. It's confusing. I likes it. Okay? I like
Yeah,
it.
I just want to give a quick shout out. Thanks, Jor-El, for having me on. It was always fun time talking to you. If you guys want more of these, let us know. We could do maybe another collab on something.
Is this our first movie review? Is that true?
This is our first.
Fam.
We are the two. You are the cell you're splitting. Now I'm here. Now we get split again. We gotta get 4 people, then 8 people.
All right, guys. Definitely hit that like button, smash, comment,
Smack that shit.
subscribe. Check out my boy Farewell. His information is in the comment section and the description box down below. We out.
We
Peace.
out here.
Dirty bitches.